The Mandela effect. String theory. Okay, for those of you that are not familiar with string theory, what they're saying is that if you were to examine everything, it's made up of atoms. And if you go inside of atoms, you have dwarfs, you have pro-dwarfs, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller until the point where there's just vibration. Like if you throw a rock across a pond and it makes the waves in the pond, the rock hits the water, and then the waves you see is from the rock hitting the water. But they're saying that there's sound, and some kind of sound is creating the shape, and that everything you see is on different frequencies, and it creates a certain shape. If that makes any sense to you. But the shape it creates, they say has, I think, 7 different angles. So, example, like, if you see this tape, right, from this angle, this is the tape, this is reality, this is what the tape looks like, right? But if you're at a different angle, the tape changes. It's the same tape, but you're at a different angle. So, inside of the smallest thing, you have sound creating the shape, but the shape has 7 different angles. That's what I believe. I learned. It could be 3, but I think it's 7. So there's a shape from the sound, another shape, but the point is that we're supposedly on one shape. One view from the vibration. We're all living in one. The shape makes 7 different. There's 7 different angles, and our existence is on one of the angles. So when you change the angle, it's still the same. It's just a different angle, so it looks different. These are how the parallel universes, or this is how the universe runs. They say there's 7 universes, realities that are exactly the same, and then from that moment on, they branch off slightly. Anything that's possible is occurring. Any possibility is happening. Anything you could imagine is actually reality. Now they're saying that the Mandela effect is that the people at Cern somehow messed with a proton it knocked us, it actually killed our reality, sending us to the very next parallel universe, which was the closest to our universe, our reality, which is still slightly off. I heard there was 3 or 7 of the exact realities going on next to each other. It's like a membrane, but from 7, when you get to the 8th, then it slightly changes, and there's probably 7 of those, and then it slightly changes 7 of those. Like some people remember Sleeping Beauty. It's magic mirror on the wall, and then some people remember mirror, mirror on the wall. I remember mirror, mirror on the wall. I don't ever remember hearing magic mirror on the wall. But I'll tell you one thing. This is before the CERN thing even started up. When I was a kid, this is a true story. When I was a kid, the buffaloes were extinct. All over the world, there was no buffalo left. No buffalo. Now they're saying that the buffalo were almost extinct. But see, when I was a kid, the buffalo wasn't almost extinct. Where I'm from, the buffalo was extinct. We even had a teacher that had a guitar. She used to sing songs about the buffalo. And she had a picture of the buffalo on the wall, and she said, yeah, that's a picture of a buffalo. But because the buffalo are extinct, no one knows exactly what they look like because they were extinct before we had any kind of film. So they only had drawings of the buffalo. That's the reality. I totally remember that in school. I mean, we're going back to 1975. 1976, 1975, first grade. And the buffalo were extinct. The buffalo were not possibly extinct. They were completely extinct. It was common knowledge. It wasn't like, there was no question. They were completely extinct. And now here, they're saying they were almost extinct, but they were never completely wiped out. Now that's not reality. Where I come from, they were completely extinct. So I know somehow I parallel shifted. Plus there's another memory I have with a friend of mine where she'll say it's one way, and I know it's a whole other way. But she believes what she's saying. It's very clear, and the event is very clear. Well, she remembers her dad picking her up. I was about 14, 15, and she was about 14, and her dad picked her up at night, and he started yelling at her, and he smacked her, and she goes, "Don't you remember my dad was smacking me when he drove away?" And I don't remember him smacking her. They drove away happily. But she remembers that he was yelling at her, and he smacked her right in front of me, and she's like completely sure that's how it went down, and she knows all the detail of that night. And I remember all the detail of that night. Everything else is very precise, except for that story. Anyways, the Mandela effect of Cern, there's definitely something going on, because there's a lot of pop culture that I'm hearing now that has been changed. Like Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, it was never Magic Mirror on the Wall. But somehow we merged with the parallel universe. Well, because the buffalo are extinct, so that was even before the Cern thing. I realized that in like 1992, 91. Anyways, the Mandela effect, I believe it's reality. I believe it really happened. I believe that people at Cern have messed with something, because this is all new. The buffalo thing, I realized in like 1990, 91. So there was a parallel, for me there was a parallel shift already. Something happened where I parallel shifted. I'm not in the same universe that I was in. That's a fact. That's 100% fact. The buffalo were completely extinct. Now they're saying, no, it was just this kind of buffalo. There were still other kind of buffalo. You can have buffalo burgers at what's that place called? Oh, I'm drawing a blank now. Anyways, they served buffalo burgers, but all the buffaloes around the entire world were completely extinct. There was no buffalo, no buffalo. And then I saw a commercial of buffalo in the early 90s, and then someone said, no, they were extinct. They were almost extinct. I said, no. When I was a kid, it was common knowledge. Everyone knew it was not no big deal, but the buffalo were extinct. The buffalo were extinct, but the buffalo only go back, like, what, 200 years? Dinosaurs go back supposedly millions of years. So the buffalo was like the newest thing, that was like the biggest thing, because in America the buffalo was really big to the Native Americans. But the buffalo were completely extinct when I was a kid. So I know I parallel shifted before the Cern thing even happened. But yeah, the Mandela effect, I totally believe it. I'm hearing all these popular sayings, all these, like stuff in Star Wars, just all the stuff that has completely changed. It was never magic mirror on the wall. I don't care what anyone says. It was always mirror, mirror on the wall. This is like stuff that you know for a fact because you've seen it over and over and over and over. So I believe the Mandela effect is true, because my memory and reality don't match up. And I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people out there that remember mirror, mirror on the wall. As for the theory that God does not exist in one of these parallel universes, I do not buy it. I believe that whatever we're seeing, I believe God could put, He's so big He could put infinity in a box. He can put endless amounts of space that never ends, that goes on forever, but still it could be inside of a box, even though it's a paradox. I believe it. Anyways, my opinion is the Mandela effect is real. We parallel shifted as an entire existence of reality. Yet before that, I had parallel shifted before. Why? I don't know. Maybe one theory is if you die in one reality, maybe it's possible that God, if He thinks you're not ready yet, He might possibly shift you to another reality. Even though you died in that one reality, you're not aware of it because you were shifted so quick at the moment of death that you never knew you died. That way you can go on and have a chance to be redeemed. That's just one theory that I have, but I don't want to make that the gospel, because if you're a God-fearing Christian, don't take that as reality, as true, because you want to make sure you got your soul right with God now, and don't rely on anything else, because it can be the trick of the devil. Whether you believe there's a real devil or not, I know there's a real devil. I know there's a real God. I was attacked by a light demon here in this corner right here in 1999. A light demon appeared. There was a battle. I was battling for my soul. It was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. And the pain wasn't really like the body. It was like inside the body, but inside of that, I can't even explain it. It was like my soul was in pain. It wasn't even a real physical pain, but it felt physical. Anyways, a light demon showed up. It was trying to get me to pray to it. I wouldn't pray to it. It was in complete control of me. I cried and I cried. I cried out for Christ. This room, I was in the dark. This room filled up with all these tiny orbs all over the wall, like a disco light. The room filled up with this amazing feeling of love like I've never felt before. Just pure love. And these orbs started circling the room, and that huge light creature demon thing shrunk and shrunk and shrunk and shrank until it finally vanished. And the orbs were just moving around, taking care of it. And it only happened when I cried out for Christ. Now this is what gets me. Popular study, when people are abducted by UFOs and they're under an alien abduction, this is what the popular study says. And these are people that have done these studies, most of them are atheists. And they say under popular study, when people cry out for Christ with the true heart, the abduction immediately stops. That's why they're saying that most likely alien abductions are demonic in nature. But I know for myself, as for the light demon thing, when I cried out for Christ, these orbs showed up, they kicked that light demon's butt into the next dimension and freed me from its grip. That's a true story. And that's why I'm a Christian now, because I know that I didn't want to, not that I didn't want to believe it, but I didn't want to use it to my advantage, because I was a sinner in sin, and I wanted to find God without sinning against Him. Let's just put it that way. But the point is that it really happened. It's a true story. And besides me and alien abductions, when they cry out for Christ, it automatically stops. That tells you right there. I know for a fact that Christ is physically real. That's reality. Christ is God. Jesus Christ is God. There was no reason for anything to show up and save me, because I was done for. I was done. That thing was collecting me. There was no way out of it. When I cried out for Christ, He showed up. The room filled up with this amazing feeling of love. And I felt that one more time about a year ago. The room filled up with love. And it was a little bit more, it was stronger at that time because I was probably more aware of it. But it was amazing. And that's the two messages that God has for everybody, is that He is pure love that we'll never understand. He loves everybody more than they'll ever imagine, more than we'll ever be able to love. And two, He's holy. It's so important to understand that He's holy. That's very, 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 very important. He loves you more than you know, and He's holy. And those are the two things that God told me about. And I know that Christ is reality. He's real. When He said He's the truth, He's the way, it's exactly what the Bible says. Did I meet Christ myself? No. But when I cried out for Christ is when those orbs showed up. That tells me that Christ is real. And those orbs were most likely angels. Thanks for watching.